Hello, this is Kent again, and we'll be going over the notes for chapter 13. Now, chapter 13 was more of me just liking birds and being impressed with them, but it also leads us to some other concepts of thinking about how God has worked in our lives and in our world. And I think that's important also. And no doubt you do too. But what I wanted to start reading is in Job 38 1 through 11. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man, and I will ask you, and you instruct me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who set its measurements, since you know, or who stretched the line on it? On what were its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, or who enclosed the sea with doors? When bursting forth it went out from the womb, when I made a cloud its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and I placed boundaries on it, and set a bolt and doors. And I said, Thus far you shall come, but no farther, and here shall your proud waves stop. Sometimes we just assume things to be what they are. But the concept of just sea level by itself, who comes up with that? I know the first answer, well, God. Of course, He did. But some will say that science has come up with the answers and reasons for sea level. Uh, Figuring out how the concept works is totally different and somewhat trivial compared to coming up with the concept in the first place. Uh, Putting it into place and making it work, that is unbelievable. And I think that's what we need to look at sometimes as we just look around our everyday life, seeing how God is working with us, and how He has worked with mankind for many millennia. But anyway, let's read verse 12. Have you ever in your life commanded the morning and caused the dawn to know its place? I cannot tell you how many times I have rejoiced knowing that the sun was going to come up. And when it came up, I could see things much more clearly and then could achieve things. How often is there a disaster and it happens at night? And then as the sun comes up, they can see where the problems are. They can see what needs to be done. At dawn, what a wonderful concept. And then we jump over to verse 36. And 36 says, Who has put wisdom in the innermost being, or given understanding to the mind? Your ability to think and reason is quite a gift from God. And through that gift, I am able to fully learn about my God. And that's how we should see all of these things. They're put here so that we see His hand. He says that in Romans, that He's made it evident by His creation. All men know that God exists. All men know that God is there. There's no such thing as an atheist. Uh, all men know that God is there. And it's how they then respond to that knowledge, that inward knowledge, knowing that God is there. I'm not saying that God is in them. I'm saying because of His creation, they know He exists, and that's what's so valuable. He's given us a brain to be able to understand these things, and again, what a concept. Uh, anyway, let's jump over to Job 40, 1 through 4. He says, Then the Lord said to Job, Will the fault finder contend with the Almighty? Let him who reproves God answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am insignificant. What can I reply to you? I lay my hand on my mouth. Once again, we are to know our place and just be awed by God. And more than anything else, be humbled that you have a place in His plan. And that's the mindset of the citizen of heaven, that our people are awed by God. And we are even awed more by the fact that He's actually working with us, and He cares for us, and He wants to work with us. And so knowing our place is very, very important. And then finally, 2 Timothy 1:12, one of my favorite verses. For years and years, it was my favorite verse. Not to say that it's changed, but for years it was my favorite verse. It says, For this reason I also suffer these things, but I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and I am convinced that He is able to guard what I have entrusted to Him until that day. My goodness, if He can create this universe, this planet, if He can create all the animals working together, if He can create the ability for us to walk around and run and jump, and then keep it going, then He can surely keep me. And I believe that's one of the important things, to go out, look around, and see what God is keeping going, and realize if He can keep this all going, He surely can hang on to you also. You're in His hand, and He's not going to let you go. And a citizen of heaven needs to realize that and grow and mature. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you. You all have a lovely day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.